Yeah, you gotta push buttons and do stuff. Good evening. Hope everybody's okay. Um, just another day here. I have been failing miserably at following news worth a damn here lately. Largely because I've been spending time flying with Charles. Um, Hell, I think when I hung up the phone, I think I looked down and said we were on the phone, I think like 7 hours or close to 7 hours. Um, we need to get him hooked up with, I think he needs to get a headset, but need to get him hooked up with Discord so we don't have to use the telephone. So anyway, so obviously I did a fair amount of that. We actually went flying around the Swiss Alps today, which was gorgeous. It was absolutely awesome. Um, Anyway, other than that, I don't know a whole lot. No, I shared out the headlines, and it's a lot of the usual. Nothing. There's nothing that's got me running around the house screaming or standing on the street corner telling everybody the end is nigh. Although I am putting back cardboard for the signs, so always be prepared. Um, I it's got to be like an old, real dirty, dingy looking cardboard sign. So otherwise, it just doesn't have the same effect. But anyway, like I say, I didn't do much other than that. So tomorrow I do have stuff I have to get taken care of. And then, it might fly a little bit, but I have been. I don't want folks to think I've just totally, totally shut my mind off to the things going around the world because, nah, not even remotely. But today, the headlines I saw coming out were really just a lot of repeat of the same old. And, there wasn't really a whole lot of surprising news. Even the debt. I mean, if you didn't realize this was about to happen, you should probably lift up your rock a little more often. This should not be a surprise to us whatsoever that our debt has surpassed $31 trillion. I'm sorry. Mikey likes it. What's my take on the XRP crypto possibly taking over world trade currency? I don't have a take on that, to be honest, and to explain why is because I don't know nothing about crypto. I really don't. I don't know anything about financial markets, period, to be honest. I can't even pretend. And it doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't make sense to me when I look at the markets and I see how markets react to different situations because in many cases, it almost seems to me like the markets react in what I would think would be opposite ways than what I would think they would react. I don't know. It's strange. Not in all cases, but definitely in some cases. Now, the question that you're asking, I assume that you're asking if that one particular brand, if you will, of crypto would be the one. I guess XRP is another one, kind of like Bitcoin, right? It's just another brand of coin, I assume. I'll give you my thoughts on crypto because I do got thoughts, but they're not any more valuable than just pulling something straight from my butt because I don't have the raw knowledge behind the technology. But my thoughts about crypto is that it was something created by they, those, them, and used in a manner in which, at least initially, people would think that if they went that route, if they used that method, they would be sticking it to the man. All you have to do to get a human being to do anything you want, play into their ego. That's all you got to do. And they've done this to us for a long time. That's how they've gotten us to the level where we're at now. Is because, humans make mistakes. And humans, they tend to have like natural greedy tendencies and stuff like that. So, all they have to do is feed that. All they have to do is feed the animal side of a human being. And it's only a matter of time. And I think that's what crypto was. I think they convinced people that they were sticking it to the man if they went with crypto. And I think that was a false front for one world currency from the very, very beginning. I think that was the original intent of crypto to begin with, was to eventually turn this into the cashless society, the one world currency, it's going to be one world. Their intent is one world everything, and we know this. I think that crypto absolutely will be taking over world trade currency. I couldn't tell you any idea of which one. But I do believe that's going to be a fact. That's what they have to do. What was it yesterday or today? Hang on. Searching my memory banks here. And I lost it. Damn it. It's one of the headlines I saw today, but I don't think it was something I shared out. And it was there, and I lost it, and which kind of sucks, because it was a pretty, I don't know why I didn't share that out. I'm pretty sure I didn't share that out. If I do run across it, I'm sure it'll ring a bell, and I'll comment on it. But as far as the news, I've got 6 tabs open. Again, there was nothing too super duper crazy there. Why don't we go ahead and hop on in? One of them I'm really not surprised with. One of the headlines I've got for you, and it's the second story I'll cover. And I'll be honest, it pisses me off. It truly bothers me. And the whole thing has bothered me from the start. And it just doesn't get any better. And it may not affect a lot of people the same way it affects me, but anyway, we'll start off about this. Let me bring you guys along. We'll start off with this U.S. debt. Pardon me. Article says U.S. national debt has officially exceeded $31 trillion for the first time in history, the Treasury Department confirmed on Tuesday. The U.S. government owed a total of $31,123,887,781,401.34 and a partridge in a pear tree as of October 3rd, according to publicly released Treasury figures. Damn, that's a big-ass number, right? A big-ass number. At the moment of President Joe Biden's inauguration in January 2021, the D-Day for the United States, the debt stood at 27. What the hell is that? I swear that's a comma. 27,075 trillion. That ain't even a number, yo. Anyway, you're missing something there, homie. Anyway, according to the Congressional Research Service, it was 21 trillion just 5 years ago. Congressman Chip Roy, a Texas Republican, lamented on Twitter after the news broke. Let's see. The national debt stood at 19.94 trillion when President Donald Trump took office in 2017, but exploded over the past several years as the Federal Reserve printed money to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the debt is held by private individuals to the tune of 24 trillion, while debts to foreign governments amount to almost 7 trillion. Much of the world indirectly subsidized the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. Meanwhile, a featured announcement on the Treasury's website on Tuesday concerned the establishment of a 25-member advisory committee on racial equity, which is supposed to provide advice and recommendations to Secretary Yellen and Deputy Secretary Wally Adeyemo on efforts to advance racial equity in the economy and address acute disparities for communities of color. Sorry, I had to have my brain totally in two different rooms at one time at that last paragraph, so my apologies for probably saying that a little bit distant. But I remembered the other story for a second. Hang on, I'll get it back. Oh, yeah, okay. The article was on, this is the article that I was talking about earlier. The article was something to do about the United States currently, right now, working the social credit system in. And it might have been a YouTube video. I don't know. Hell, hang on. Oh, wow, that's like 7 hours. Hang on. Let me take a peek. Do what? Well, howdy, neighbor. We live in the other Illinois. Let's see. Hell, I don't know. It was something, it was a headline that said that they were going to be working. You know what? I actually think I actually remember who did the headline. One moment. Just bear with me one moment. Because it would have been this morning. I'm scrolling. Should be coming up to her any moment. What the heck? Getting there. Unless I just totally missed it and I'm a tard. Dude. Okay, so anyway, supposedly the United States right now is supposed to be, the Fed's supposed to be working with others and working on dealing with the social credit score, system. Let me put in social credit in the search. Social. I didn't watch. If it was a video that I saw, I didn't watch it. Yeah. See, I was thinking that if it was one of the channels I was subscribed to, if I can even speak, it would have popped up high, but I don't see it anywhere. So anyway, anywho, I want you to be aware of that. I don't know if it was an article I saw or a video for sure. I'm starting to think it was a video though. But be mindful, because, it's one of those things that we already know anyway, but a little reminder isn't a bad idea when it comes to stuff like that. Maybe if there would have been an extra few little reminders about, the national ID system, we wouldn't have the real ID in force right now. Maybe. But, hey, that one was kept at bay for quite a while, for decades. They kept trying and trying and trying that national ID card. And then by the time they actually got there to putting one in place, it became an international ID card. Aren't you happy? Fun times. Oh, let's see. Okay. Maybe the right page I help. So anyway, that is what's going on with the debt. This is what gets my crawl. A Saudi prince claims immunity in Khashoggi lawsuit. Oh, isn't that nice? You mean the Khashoggi that had already claimed that they'd been proven innocent? That one? Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And by the way, I was screaming bloody hell at Trump over this. Because the United States wasn't doing jack about what happened. Nothing. And that is actually something that we're supposed to kind of be a shining beacon of light of, you know? Protecting individuals like that. Not the prince. I'm talking about Khashoggi. But there again, if that were the case, Edward Snowden wouldn't have just recently gotten Russian citizenship. So, you know, hey. Neither would Julian Assange have been in prison for the last several years, slowly dying. Anyway, should be considered immune from prosecution in the ongoing U.S. lawsuit over the 2018 killing of the Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, his lawyers argued in court on Monday, according to Reuters. The prince's defense insists that royal order given by his father, King Salman, designating him prime minister last week, entitles him to status-based immunity. Technicality. I did it, but you know what? Too bad. The lawyers urged the federal district court in Washington to dismiss the case entirely, noting that the U.S. has done so in the past for foreign heads of state. Khashoggi, a Saudi Arabian citizen, is believed to have been murdered and dismembered by Saudi agents in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October 2018. The U.S. intelligence services said the order to kill the dissident journalist was given directly by MBS himself. The prince has denied ordering the murder, while government officials such as the Saudi Minister of State of Foreign Affairs, Adel al-Jubeir, have suggested that the killing was a rogue operation carried out by individuals operating outside the scope of their authority. MBS, however, has since acknowledged that Khashoggi's death happened under my watch and insisted that those responsible for the gruesome killing must be held to account. The lawsuit against the Saudi prince was filed by Khashoggi's fiancée, Hatice Sengiz, and Dawn, a pro-democracy human rights group founded by the late columnist before he was killed. The case, which is being heard in a district court in Washington, D.C., seeks unspecified damages against the crown prince and names 20 other Saudi nationalists as co-defendants. The court is now waiting for the U.S. Justice Department to express its view on whether the prince has immunity after being named the Saudi prime minister. The Biden administration, however, has asked that the court proceedings be delayed for 45 days while it considers its stance on the matter. While they work out a deal. Right? 45 days? We can work out a big enough check in that amount of time, I'm sure. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Oh. I should probably pay attention more. Let's see. Do I have a take on the CCP, owning farmland and other U.S. properties and considering the connections they have with manufacturing COVID? That worries me extremely. Yeah, but, it's the same thing as with the Bill Gates, of buying up all the farmland that Bill Gates had done. Somebody, I can't remember who had did it, but somebody had actually put it into perspective of how much land that actually means. And it's really not, it's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. I wouldn't be so concerned about the Chinese-owned land. Hell, China owns a port one of her ports on the west coast. It's China's. It's crazy. It's like, I think it's a major port too, like a big deal. And Alex Jones, at a point in time, made really good content, and he was accurate. Imagine that. I mean, sometimes he's still right, but anyway, he did a video. If you haven't seen the Alex Jones video, what the hell is that video called? Hang on. America Destroyed by Design. That's the name of it. America Destroyed by Design by Alex Jones. And in that video, he talks about one of the ports out on the west coast and how China had bought it. And that, oh, dude, I'm telling you, that video. Let me see. There's got to be a place. New keyboard. I'm taking me a hell of a long time to get used to it. Let me see if this may be the full thing. Ooh, baby. Looks good to me. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a second.
Issue, and then on top of it, there's the...
Okay, good deal. Hang on. For anybody that wants it, that is the particular video that I was referring to. So, anyway, he talks about how China owns one of the ports, and he talks about all the what's the exact term for them? The heritage sites, the world something heritage sites. I can't remember the exact terminology, but it's basically to where our landmarks, many of our landmarks, are actually controlled by an international body, and it's really crazy. And he's not, he's accurate. What he covers in that video, he's accurate. He's not. This isn't his craziness that he goes off on today. No, he was accurate in that video, and it is stunning, the information that video contains. But this, this deal with the Saudi prince. This is why I vehemently say, there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. Because if there were, you would see a divide on something like this. But Republicans nor Democrats want to do anything to harm the Saudis. Even in so much as it was Saudis that were on the plane on 9/11. Saudis. Not Afghanis. Nope. Weren't Afghanis. Saudis. Imagine that. This is the deja vu part of the headline. Because didn't we have a bunch of people that either were currently or formerly involved in U.S. government, CIA officers and what have you, all commenting that Russia wasn't going to invade Ukraine? There was no sign that Russia was about to invade Ukraine. Now, I'm not talking about Biden. Not talking about what he said. I'm talking about what pretty much the rest of the government said. many in the government were saying that it didn't look like, Putin was going to do anything. And then, bam, he did. And for some reason, this just feels like a deja vu moment. And so I thought that it bared noting. So, not going to read the article. No need in reading the article. I just wanted to point it out because I just got an eerie feeling about this headline. I reported many headlines that said that there was no sign that Russia was going to invade Ukraine. And, there's no way for any of us to know. I mean, it is what it is, but UK on brink of gas supply emergency, says regulator. The UK may enter a gas supply emergency due to shortages this winter, according to energy regulator Ofgem. Britain reportedly relies on gas-fired power plants for about 40% of its electricity supply, while roughly 8 in 10 UK households use gas to heat their homes. In case of a supply emergency, some gas-fired power plants and other big gas users might be cut off and have to halt operations. They would then face imbalance charges, which could result in insolvency, both SSE and Ofgem warned. According to a recent report from The Guardian, around 30 energy suppliers have already collapsed over the past several months. Due to the war in Ukraine and gas shortages in Europe, there is a significant risk that I gotta stop. Wait a minute. Around 30 energy suppliers in the past several months. Anybody catch anything odd there? How does Joe Blow get an energy company? How's that work exactly? Can somebody explain that to me? And when you have an energy company and you're selling energy, just how do you collapse? I'm at a loss. This is what I think, and it's merely an opinion. I could be completely wrong. But there's a bunch of, I think of them as scams. I really can't say that they necessarily are a scam. I won't take part in one. But a deal to where you could agree with this company to pay them for your power or whatever, and they somehow give you a better rate. A lot of them get you to bite because they'll show you the charges that you have on your current power bill, and that how they wouldn't have those charges on the power bill, how you would save money. And it's usually a budget type of billing thing, and it's just usually it's a nightmare. Are these the energy suppliers, is my question? Are those the energy suppliers that they're talking about that's collapsing? Because I'm failing to see how it is that those that are operating the plants, the ones that are maintaining the lines, I believe they're still continuing to do as such. So exactly how did that collapse again? Something is not right with this. And if this is some type of legitimate energy suppliers that are collapsing, then I still question it. Because it sounds to me like they're being collapsed, and somebody else is going to be coming along with a shovel to scoop them all up. Possibly the government themselves to nationalize the system. I don't know. Possibly. Right? I mean, think about it. Look at all the other business that governments have wiped out over the past 2 to 3 years. I don't know. But, this whole energy thing and the food thing, and that there's just so much that is becoming more and more obvious each and every day that is orchestrated. It says, continuing on, due to the war in Ukraine and gas shortages in Europe, there is a significant risk that the gas shortages could occur during the winter of 2022-2023 in Great Britain. As a result, there is a possibility that Great Britain could enter into a gas supply emergency, Optum said in a letter responding to a request by energy generator SSE that the regulator should address the risk of possible insolvencies. The letter was first made public by the Times. Even if such an emergency does not occur, the risk that it could occur is likely to force generators to reduce their forward and day-ahead trading, reducing liquidity in electricity markets and raising costs for electricity consumers, SSE stated in its request. The UK's energy market is connected to those of continental Europe and usually relies on gas and electricity imports through the undersea pipelines and cables from the EU and Norway if shortfalls occur. However, recent events which caused Russia to stop supplying gas to the EU via Nord Stream 1 pipeline heightened fears of supply shortages. Some industry experts say shortages are unlikely, but warn that the prices may spike further in the coming months, according to the latest Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy data. Average UK electricity prices in 2021 were 18.9 pounds per kilowatt hour, but by the end of 2022 they are estimated to jump to 34 pounds per kilowatt hour. So I gotta have a drink of coffee. Goodness. Oh, fun times. Good coffee. Yum, yum, yum. I'm just going to kick back the rest of the show and drink coffee. That works. All right. Moving to a different area and energy. German households and small businesses raised their natural gas consumption by 14.5%. By the way, the headline is Germans fail their first gas saving test. Oh, I think I did read that. Sorry. I'm a tard. Let's see. German households, small businesses raised their natural gas consumption by 14.5%, above the 5-year average in the week from September 19th to the 25th, according to Germany's energy regulator, the Federal Network Agency. The private sector represents about 40% of the gas consumption in Germany, mainly using gas for heating. The increase coincided with this year's first cold snap, with temperatures in northwest Europe dropping below the 30-year average. However, according to the regulator, the savings required to avoid a gas shortage must be achieved independently of temperatures. In other words, no heat. The Federal Network Agency noted that a reduction in consumption of at least 20% is required to avoid a gas shortage in the coming months. The gas consumption of households and businesses in the last week was well above the average consumption of previous years. This week's figures are therefore very sobering. Without significant savings in the private sector, too, it will be difficult to avoid a gas shortage in winter, Klaus Muller, head of the Federal Network Agency, said, commenting on the data. According to Muller, the country can get through the winter on well-filled storage facilities, but there are conditions. Firstly, the projects that have been initiated to increase gas imports must be implemented. Secondly, the gas supply in our, by the way, that means us shipping tons of LNG over there. That's what that means. And your price going up so you can help pay for that. Secondly, the gas supply in our neighboring countries must also remain stable. And thirdly, gas must be saved. Even if it gets even colder towards winter, it will depend on each individual, Mueller stressed. Yeah, good luck with that. Large industrial, because you've got how many people out there, they're going to be like, well, it's just me. It's just me. Everybody else is going to listen. It's just me. Large industrial consumers in Germany account for 60% of gas consumption. So far, they have managed to adhere to the government's request and lowered usage by some 22% in August. Demand was also well below the average in September at 1,170 gigawatt hour per week compared to 1,679 gigawatt hour per week in the past 4 years. The Federal Network Agency has said it will be publishing weekly figures on gas consumption in Germany throughout the heating season. You know, kind of like COVID numbers. You think they're done with fear-mongering? They're not even started yet. They are not even started yet. And I'll bet you they do. I'll bet you they do. Publish those numbers, plaster them on every TV channel. I mean, it almost seems like it's a template anymore, doesn't it? The SHTF template, we'll call it. I'm going to have a vape. Strawberry milk. God, that's good. Strawberry milk and coffee. It works. Trust me, it works. It does. It goes together. It's like perfect. Alright, let's see. Le Pen issues grim winter prediction. So yet another area of the world. France should brace for a tough winter as a result of the EU's anti-Russia sanctions, the leader of the right-wing National Rally parliamentary group said on Tuesday, adding that next winter will be even worse. Marine Le Pen told BFM TV that the sanctions are not working and are in fact harming the French people. She argued that the restrictions placed on Russia have proven counterproductive, helping Moscow to increase its oil revenues. Le Pen also said that the responsibility for the plight of Europeans lies with those who decided to impose anti-Russia measures. The opposition, the opposition politician, that needs to be a song, man. That totally needs to be a song that needs to be done in the feel of the Bill. You remember Bill? You know, Bill from like, it wasn't really Sesame Street, but it was like PBS, right? You remember Bill. I can't remember the song, and you wouldn't want me to try to sing it. But you remember Bill. You know, how do you become a Bill? Yeah, that guy. Don't make me find the video. I'm telling you. Anyway, the opposition politician earlier harshly criticized France's support for the sanctions. I know, I'll put the bong down. France's support for the sanctions, branding them a major geopolitical mistake. She also called out idiots supporting the green agenda, naming them as the real culprits for the EU's dependency on Russian fossil fuels. Last month, the head of the French energy regulator, CRE, warned that the private households could face power outages this winter in the event of severe frost. The country may not produce enough nuclear energy in the coming months, as half of its plants are offline, the regulator said. You know, there is maybe I don't know, one of the countries over there could say, we'll take one for the team and let Russia nuke them. They keep everybody warm. I'm kidding. No, this nonsense, I am telling you, it's orchestrated. I get the whole deal with Russia and what's going on in the EU, the UK, and all the above. I get that. But there are a whole lot of other things going on as well that are adding to the situations. It's not just energy. It is everything. That's just it. It's everything. Now, COVID put us back. Definitely put us back. But COVID did not have the effect that we're seeing today. COVID was the excuse that they used to do what they're doing today. And like I said, it's like a SHTF template. You watch. They're going to continue to do this. They're going to continue to have new boogeymen that they're going to come and they're going to be fear-mongering the hell out of you of. Right? And if you pay close attention, all of it's going to be set up and done the same ways. The way they communicate with you, the different ways they say things. They'll have certain little phrases. Just keep an eye out. Just keep an eye out. I'm really good at detecting patterns. And I am seeing some pretty incredible stuff. Just keep an eye out for that. It'll be a major feather in your cap for staying ahead of the game. All right, let me have a couple more sips and a few vapes, and we'll do some headlines and run out the back door screaming, "Oh, we're gonna die!" And then the white men in the coats can tackle me, and I can go to sleep for a while. I bet that would be a good sleep. After they jacked me up with a intravenous Ativan. Ugh. I mean, the world would still be ending, except I just wouldn't care. All right. Ukraine scolds EU over aid delays. You can keep your aids, man. I'm not in no hurry. North Korea fires missile over Japan. You already knew about that from yesterday's show. UK on brink of gas supply emergency, says regulator. Oh, yeah, I kind of read that one. Strikes halt French refineries. See, I was telling you about all these little things that just add up to the problem. Biden privately confirms intention to run for second term, says NBC. Russia's parliament fully ratifies unification treaties. Turkey asked Russia for gas concessions, says Bloomberg. Italy ramps up surveillance of underwater cables, says the media. Japan weighs in on post-World War II status quo. U.S. Treasury explains how G7 wants to target Russian oil. UK to introduce major change to asylum rules, says the media. Police chief fired amid investigation into deadly stadium disaster. NATO members, president suggests condition for Ukraine. Minsk explains how it takes part in Russia-Ukraine conflict. Kremlin reacts to Zelensky banning talks with Putin. Russian partial mobilization numbers revealed. I believe they've already got like 200,000, if I'm not mistaken. EU sounds alarm over dangerous infection. And yeah, by the way, that's something we might want to pay attention to. He's literally already amassed 200,000 people. Troops. So, heads up. Truss declares herself a huge Zionist. Not a good thing in my eyes. CIA chief warns in on Putin's... Why did I say warns? CIA chief weighs in on Putin's alleged nuclear threat. German top officials disagree on war with Putin. Notorious Ukrainian diplomat tells Musk to F off. Now that's what he's building the robots for. Danish police alerted to drone activity over gas field. RT wins court case against Google. Germany responds to Poland's $1.2 trillion reparations demand. They said get bent. Pretty much. No sign of China preparing to invade Taiwan, says ex-CIA officer. And by the way, circle back with the Jin Psaki. This whole thing I mentioned yesterday about how somebody else was talking about how possibly it was Poland that did it, and there would be, reasons to believe as much. And I pointed this out yesterday, that they were talking about this. There's issues between Germany and Poland, and it's probably a good idea if we don't just ignore them. Let's see. Ex-U.S. Marine sentenced in Russian cop attack. Russia fully committed to UN consensus on nuclear war. Rock legend says he's on Ukrainian kill list. That would be Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. NATO to test psychological resilience of EU capitals residents. And I know that sounds... Why didn't you read that article? They're just going to have a NATO exercise in a city. I mean, it's really not anything abnormal, really. Just, I think they're doing it in a different place than they usually do it. U.S. risks direct conflict with Russia over Ukraine, says envoy. U.S. floats new fears of Russian election interference, says media. This is ridiculous. This stuff needs to stop. Because even when they do break it down, it's like, it amounts to, well, they bought X amount of ads, and really? Come on. EU charger mandate forces Apple redesign, and I will absolutely high-five EU and say good job. Good for you. Thank you. Now, can you go after Cessna and make Cessna use the same font that everybody else has to use on their aircraft? Because, yeah, it was kind of a sweetheart deal they got there, too. So, yeah, I'm good with that. I think that's BS. When everybody else is mandated to do something except for one company. I think that's BS. I don't think it should be allowed. And in the case with the charger, Apple got away with whatever they wanted. Well, the same is true, the numbering for your N numbers for an aircraft. For all aircraft, it has to be a particular font. It's got to be a particular size, blah, blah, blah. But Cessna can use their own font. Only company that can use their own font, to my knowledge. Let's see. Musk responds to anti-Kremlin activist Kasparov. Probably Kasparov. EU agrees to impose price cap for Russian oil, says Politico. Biden to run again in 2024, so it has been confirmed. He needs to be infirmed. Has been confirmed. He needs to be infirmed. I don't know. Pick one. Let's see. Black Lives Matter is a scam, says Kanye West. U.S. debt oh, I covered that. And that's it. That is it. See? Told you I didn't need to run around the house and start screaming. But I'm going to keep that cardboard because it'll come in handy one day. Actually, I'll use this coffee cup. Instead of getting a, tin can, I'll just use this coffee cup. It's close, right? Coffee can with my dungy cardboard sign saying the end is nigh. On our street over there that might get one car every 3 hours. Right. Oh, man. I'll tell you. I'm tired. I am still tired. I'm just exhausted all the time. And it sucks. But it is what it is. It's strange. It's just weird. It's like tired to a degree of foggy all the time. And it sucks. I don't like it anyway. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. And God willing, we'll do it again tomorrow night. I appreciate everybody coming. And I hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.